Are we waiting?
Get all the way! The black cat! He just stopped!
Huh?
That's ominous.
I mean, I'm down.
I'm surprised. I believe
Great.
we're on air.
Hello.
With that,
We are. Hello and welcome everybody to welcome to the second episode of Gifted and Talented, the conclusion to this short Changeling Chronicle. Welcome everybody who is viewing, and let's get things started by giving a quick introduction of all of our characters and players so we can catch people up. Let's start with Allie.
Hi, yes, hello. What am I doing?
Telling us a little bit about you and your character.
Yes. So my name is Salubri, Sal for short. Tonight I am revisiting the character Alexi, a Sealy satyr who is part track star, part huge flirt with a dark, not so dirty secret. Yeah.
Okay. Moon, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Certainly. My name's Khaldun Khalil. I write for Vampire and other World of Darkness lines, and I'm playing Princess Jones, the slow Changeling, recently gone through the chrysalis, and I'm new to the Gifted and Talented program and a sensitive artist, and I'm trying to make my way despite this whole new Changeling thing. Also, I like to wear very gothy, especially Victorian dresses.
Okay, thank you. Panda, tell us a little bit about you and who you're playing.
I'm Panda. As you can tell, I get a little carried away when it comes to LARP and role-playing costumes. You can find my Twitter and Instagram at Vepols, Vepols. I'm going to be playing for the second time Amber Arlington, or in her Fae form, the she, Isolt Nequitian. And all you need to know is I'm popular, I'm hot, and I'm everything you're not.
That's like my prom night.
Okay. Charlie, want to introduce yourself and your character?
Sure. I'm Charlie, and again, for the second time this evening, I'm going to be playing Billy Osborne, who is an unseelie troll and outdoor adventure scout who is having some flashbacks to past lives, as we found last week.
Yeah, Cordon's War was pretty
Rough.
brutal.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the right side won.
Last but not least, Ben.
hello, testing. This has been, I go by Ben Competence on Twitch. I do some creative writing and role playing, run my own Twitch channel. Right now I'm playing Teodora Ruiz, Tia or T for short, and she is a childling knocker. She's loves mechanics, she loves fixing and creating things. She's got a few self-confidence issues and a lot of mania. And that's her.
Awesome. Okay, so quick recap. All of you are students at Ivy Wild High School, where the gifted and talented program is less a gifted and talented program and more a cover for the changelings to meet in a very tiny, tiny freehold under the leadership of the Bogan language arts teacher, Miss Starling. The workshop where the gifted and talented program meets is right on the edge of campus, and it used to be where, before a whole bunch of budget cuts, the school used to teach things like home ec and woodshop and auto shop. But since they no longer teach these, has fallen into a little bit of disrepair. And currently, the school board is voting on whether they should continue to budget for a gifted and talented program, and if they should sell the land that the workshop is on to a local real estate development company. Yes. This would obviously be very tragic for all of the changelings, which is why, in an attempt to save the program, you have decided the best course of action is stealing the cell phone of a school board member.
Things
And
escalated.
And I believe also turning one of the waiters into a pet. That might also have happened.
Why not?
We're problem solvers.
Like you do. You forgot about Chekhov's noisemaker.
Yes, Chekhov's noisemaker, which I don't
made something-
believe has been used yet.
Nope, it's still in my purse for the inevitable moment when it does. And all I know about it is that no matter what your car is, it sounds like a car alarm.
Okay, so we are going to open right where we left off with this fun motley having just popped through a portal into a cemetery.
And then I thought to
Yes.
myself, okay.
There are ghosts for those who can perceive them.
So then I thought to myself, well, maybe if I have the noisemaker, and the noisemaker might be a good idea. But what if I just go and I take the phone and replace the phone? So then I swapped out the phone, but I hope that was okay. I don't know if I.
Hey, Tia.
Mhm, mhm.
Lexi grabs Tia
Mhm. Oh.
and give her a big hug.
Oh. Okay.
Don't worry, Tia, you're awesome.
Okay.
And remember,
you.
guys,
She won't say fuck, but you fucking rocked. I whisper in her ear.
Oh. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you very much. So, what happens now?
repeat after me. Francesca did it.
Francesca did it.
Good. Just remember, that's the story. We all have to have the same story.
Francesca's fucking the waiter.
I don't really care what Francesca is doing with her personal life.
That's worse for
Francesca-
the waiter, considering Francesca is below the age of consent.
Well,
Francesca's fucking the waiter.
Isolt, I don't want to create any problems or anything, but I was just thinking, does it have to be Francesca that we pin this all on? Because, I mean, maybe we could find someone else.
It has to be Francesca because I'm keeping her out of spoiling this by promising that I'm going to make her ridiculously popular. And even if she goes down in flames with this, she's going to go down in flames popularly. She'll get everything she ever wanted and dreamed about. It's going to be so perfect.
They're
But,
listening.
Does it have? Oh,
Who's listening?
Them.
Like, on one
Princess
hand,
stares at
I'm
one of the tombstones.
on one hand, I'm horrified. On the other hand, keep talking, Isolt.
What I'm
just looking at
telling
one
you
tombstone.
is that Francesca is going to be prom queen. I want you to all wear these little badges and make sure that you tell everyone that Francesca is the hero who saved the school. Because
When did you make those?
come on, I have a little button machine. Remember?
Oh,
Pretty
Yeah.
sure she doesn't sleep.
that's impressive.
You don't need to sleep if you make sure that you stay in your face seaming all night.
Okay,
Isolt
that's
is
fair.
by spite and revenge. Let's accept this now.
I figured it was caffeine given the speed she talks, but I'll take spite and revenge, sure.
I'm doing it out of an honorable and noble need to uplift someone. I'm turning the other cheek. I'm showing graciousness in the face of a greater challenge with my most hated enemy.
All
There's
right.
no ulterior motives.
That is very nice
In-
of you.
In accordance with the rules of dramatic irony, Tia, you receive a text message.
Oh no. I check the text message. I
It
just
is-
look away. I have to just take this real fast. I'll just be right back. It's probably my dad. One shot blew up. 1 second. I checked the text message.
It is from Francesca. She has texted you. What is Amber up to?
Pretty sure that's not her dad.
I just text back, and I just say out loud, "Oh no, all the cars," and then I just text back, and I just say, "Can't talk right now," and then and a sad face, and then I erase the sad face, and then I put a concerned face, and I send that.
She sends back 3 pill emojis.
Oh boy.
I just tell her, I text back, Amber's, Amber and I are hanging out right now. Amber, I just text back that I'll tell her everything later, but I can't really talk right now. And then I say I'm sorry, and then I send back I'm sorry.
Okay. You receive a final text message that says, you better or else.
Oh boy. Okay, I take out one of my devices. I put the phone away, I take out one of my other devices, start fidgeting it with it, and just start trying to fix it. That doesn't work. I put it away, and I pull out one of my coins, and I start rolling it across my finger back and forth. So what are we doing?
During that entire...
T, is your dad okay?
Yeah, he's fine. There was just a thing with the carburetor, and then it with the gas gauge, and then they conflagrated.
Do you need to go home?
Hey, T? Roll. Everybody can roll manipulation plus empathy on this one.
Oh, including me? Okay.
Yes, it is going to be a contested challenge. You are trying to get your friends to believe the lie. They are trying to pick up on your tells.
Okay. I have, you don't have to roll a lot for them, because I'll tell you that right now that I had 1 point and I rolled a 1. So I got the worst possible roll that could possibly happen in Changeling.
Oh.
Just physically the lowest possible roll.
So that is a botch. So yeah, nobody else bother rolling. You can tell T's hiding something.
Oh.
T, did you tell your parents what we're doing?
Maybe. I told them that I was going out with some friends.
Okay. T, you know we're all your friends, right? And you can tell us anything, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to be your friends no matter what, because we're all part of the same freehold, right?
Yeah. I mean, you
maybe
sure?
Yes.
Okay. Can we just please put this on someone besides Francesca?
How am I supposed to make her popular? Does she not want to be popular?
I just don't think she wants to go down in flames.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put the victory handle of Fireball that Princess brought aside. And I stand because Princess brought Fireball to the graveyard. So Alexi was taking a healthy chug of Fireball sets it aside, and goes, "What is she doing?"
It's more like a flask of Fireball that I stole from my parents' liquor cabinet. It is not a handle of Fireball. I am a
Wow.
child.
I feel targeted.
Those are very good points.
Okay. All right. Alexi hands the flask back to Princess. Puts his hands on
Can you
Tia's
taste the
shoulder
crickets?
and says,
Alexi,
"What? Hi.
how heavy a drinker are you normally?
I don't know. I'm an athlete."
I like that addresses it.
Okay,
Well-
and you're
now
also a satyr.
Yeah, and how do you
Yeah,
handle
so I
and how do you handle poison?
I
Wait,
am
is it
not-
poisoned?
Is it
Of
poison?
course, it's poisoned. I'm a slua.
Oh goddamn!
Well, and I will never resist partaking in bad earthly pleasures.
Okay, so like, is this just like a casual? Oh yeah, of course I'm a slua. I'm just gonna milk a spider for the hell of it, or is it
Yeah,
like
exactly. It's
I'm a
just
slua
like some...
and this is my craft?
Oh no, it's just like some mild spider venom. I'm sure it's like all very gothy
Okay.
and cool.
Alexi, go ahead and roll me stamina.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Just straight stamina?
Straight stamina.
All right. And
Just
what's
casually do some spider
what's
milking. Sure.
what's my target? What's my target goal?
Just tell me how many successes you get. And yeah, you're looking for 6s.
Okay.
Let's see if there's a glass cannon.
I rolled 3 successes.
Okay. Yeah, so since Princess really wasn't trying super hard, it tingles on the way down, and you are a little drunk right now, so don't try doing anything that needs dexterity.
All right. So I go, all right, hold on. let me channel this. I go, Tia, where did you get this stuff, Princess? Holy shit.
The
Tia,
spiders
Tia.
or the alcohol?
Tia.
Yeah.
I waddle over and I put my hands on Tia's shoulders. Are you chill with Francesca? Or are you not chill with Francesca?
I look at Isolt.
No, don't look at Isolt. Look at me.
Oh.
Look at me. Are you chill with Francesca or?
No, of course not. I hate her.
Okay.
That-
So.
Jerk.
You're a terrible liar.
Yeah. Oh my
Okay.
God, Princess said something right. Holy shit, we're making progress in character development. What's up?
Well, no, it's not. It just seems like it's mean. Like, I mean, like everyone has. I don't like her. I mean, she's obviously just the worst. And
Tia,
yeah.
I want you to look me in my one sober eye right now and tell me you don't mind Francesca going down for what we did tonight. Just the one sober eye. The other one doesn't matter. That's my party eye. I'm talking about my one sober eye.
Storyteller,
left
I would
eye.
like to make a manipulation empathy roll at this point.
Sure. But
I rolled a 2.
okay, so this is going to be your result going forward for the rest of the scene.
Okay.
And I will, if you want, allow you the chance to spend a willpower for 1 automatic success.
What do you have to roll to figure out which is Alexi's sober eye? So you don't look in the wrong one.
Well, I said it was the left eye.
Storyteller, I would like to spend 2 willpower, if that's allowed.
Sure. How many? You can usually only spend 1.
Oh, okay. Then I'll just spend 1 willpower for 1 success.
Okay. In which case, anyone wishing to see through Tia will have to make a manipulation plus empathy roll of their own and beat her 1 success.
Ooh.
Cocaine. Da-di-da-di-da.
Hey, everybody.
Somewhere on here, there's got to be like an empathy stat.
It's a talent.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
I
rather
rolled a 4.
I was going to say, actually, rather than trying to see through it, can I actually help Tia out and back her up with just sort of a, like, no, look at her. She's already said it once. Like, whether she said it to your drunk eye or your sober eye, like, she's fine.
You know, I think I know what's
yes.
going on here, guys.
You may make a roll, and any successes that you roll will add on to Tia's.
Okay. Same manipulation, empathy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just for the record, I rolled 4 on this.
Okay.
8.
Alexi really cares.
8 successes?
No, 1 success rolled an 8.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I would love to roll 8 successes.
What's your secret?
I did not stat Billy out to do that, but with cascading exploding 10s, it is possible. All right, so you got 1 success,
Just the
so
one,
that
yeah.
so that adds on to Tia's 1 for a total of 2. But Alexi, you got 4.
Yep.
Alexi might have stepped away for a moment.
Yes, I said yes.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So yes, Alexi manages to understand that there's something hinky going on, and Tia is holding something back.
The trick is that neither of our eyes are sober.
Ah.
Well, it
So,
doesn't really matter because I'm sure Francesca's heard everything by now.
Oh,
So what does Tia say? What does Tia end up saying to try and sell that nothing's wrong?
I do not like Francesca, that bitch.
Right. So Alexi
You know-
kind of does like a blink and then focus back on Tia. He goes, Tia. I don't know what.
Oh no.
Oh.
Saluber, you've got some lag going on. Do you mind repeating that? Like, totally awesome roleplay moment?
Or what she knows about you?
Can you try one more
time? I think the ghosts got Alexi.
Alexi blacks out for a second. Alexi blacks out for a second before he starts talking. But then he goes, I don't know what Francesca knows about you. And then his eyeballs go in opposite directions and then focus back on Tia. And he says, I don't know what she has on you, but whatever it is isn't bad enough that we would ever desert you.
Princess takes the flask away from Alexi. That's I think that's enough fireball for you.
Oh no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's enough.
I can stop
that's
whenever
enough.
I want.
That's enough. So, I can actually, I mean, we're just getting off track, and I can actually, if you want, go on the phone and the teacher's phone, and I could probably change it so that, whatever we need to put on there or take off of there, I can make happen.
That would be a very good idea. But, if you're having a silly moment and you don't think my plan is noble enough, we can talk about that.
No.
Alexi is going to look visible for the rest of the scene.
Okay, so
I'll
the
be right back.
fireball overcomes Alexi, and he's just sort of like, why is the ground moving?
Okay, that's enough. After school special, warnings against drinking for us. No more spider fireball drinks.
Okay. And so it appears as though the Motley has decided not to press the issue with Tia and allow her to deflect to be like, hey, phone.
Hey, phone. So what are we putting
Okay.
on the phone?
We're trying to get the contents of the phone off so we can find out what our evil land person is up to, so we can widely publicize his evil scheme.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can go through. I can probably figure out his password. I mean, it's probably. I mean, it's usually 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have to do anything special for that. But I try 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, Paul is terrible at InfoSec, and that works.
See?
Okay,
so there
you
we go.
now have access to Paul Grant's smartphone. And as you go through it, like, I'm not going to make you roll banality, but you feel banality. Like, he doesn't have a single game, not even Minesweeper or Snake. It's all like stock market tracking apps and like the Business Insider app.
This is Google Docs. It is spreadsheets. Oh my god.
And
There
a lot of
is-
shirtless selfies.
Is that
I
a
don't know
third
if that's
nipple?
better or worse.
He's not even ripped.
That's a third nipple.
It
Like
is.
right there on his rib.
No, I see it.
Yeah, you can tell because it's got like the bilateral symmetry.
Ah,
All of his Instagram is food, and not even good food.
are we out of Fireball?
No, there's plenty. Here you are.
Thank you. I
Big
take it.
sip. Big sip.
I take it. I just like press the flask to my lips for a second, and then I just set it back down. And that I basically smelled it. That's is as far as I went. But that's a big hit for Tia. And then just looking through, and I'm just like, well, I don't see anything on here, especially. It's just this is the worst phone. I hate this phone.
Supposed to be looking.
Mhm.
We're supposed to be looking for something incriminating that we could use against him, or something that more directly ties him to what he's up to for buying our property.
And when you're all done with it, you can break it. How's that?
I'd like to
No,
make some
we need
modifications to it.
When it's done, when we're done with it.
no. When we're done, we need to move this somewhere plausible that he might have accidentally left it, like the school.
Well, I already left a
Okay.
replacement phone for him. He just has to
Is it-
never use it.
Yeah, no. He's going to go into the washroom as soon as he gets home. He's going to be under that good light that you always get in bathrooms because they're teeny tiny. He's going to
Why
look in
are
the
they so
mirror and he's going to
good?
be like, it's time to take a picture. I know. My phone is entirely full of selfies and group shots.
So it is a chimerical phone. So when the sun rises tomorrow is when it will vanish.
We need to get whatever is on this phone off, and then we need to leave it in a bush at the school so it looks perfectly harmless, and needs to be as bush as far away from the gifted and talented thing as we can. Because if this guy uses a Find My Phone app, we have a problem.
Oh,
Washroom. Your soul must be like 3,000 years old.
we could. I know where we could put it, but that's probably a bad idea. Anyway, I'll look through the phone, and do I see anything at all?
Email, assuming that you're, willing to break the DMCA, you can hack into his email.
Absolutely, I do.
Okay. So again, a lot of boring emails. And so you can read what is going on between him and an what often shows up in the email headers as the Ivy Wild Development Consortium. And so the email exchanges between Paul and the other members of the school board establish pretty much that, what Paul is doing is very much skirting the line between legal and illegal. But there's very definite self-dealing going on. Even if it is not precisely illegal, it is definitely unethical and a definite conflict of interest. Because, when you're on the school board, you're supposed to have the best interests of the school at heart, and Paul obviously does not. In one email, a member of the corporate consortium is asking him, how do you think the other members will vote? He says, Anthony Morris is in the bag as long as the consortium pledges a series of yearly donations to keep the computer lab upgraded. He says that Jason Chang he calls him Milk Toast, but as long as Paul is the last person to speak to Chang before the vote, he's confident he also has that one. He speaks somewhat denigratingly of Karen Jessup as a conspiracy hound, but says that he's been able to get her on his side. The only outlier is Willow St. John, who some of you met last game, but since they only need 3 votes to win, he's pretty confident that he can get 2 other people on his side.
Guys, I have a plan.
Already on it. I open the phone and I just start typing.
Reply all. Accidental reply all. One to the
On.
conspiracy person.
Mhm.
Send an inappropriate one of those shirt selfies, the most recent one, to somebody who won't be deeply offended but will be weirded out by it.
This one. I send one where you can clearly see the third nipple. Yes, that one. And it's another one that says, like what you see, and then I put 6 question marks and an exclamation point.
Well, won't that mean that he'll know that the phone he has is fake when, he's contacted about that?
Should have thought of that before I hit send.
Yeah, I was going to say we get together the plan, then we put it into
Okay,
operation.
well, I will say that I was not sure what you were doing, so because I could not clarify what you were doing, it didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
So what I was going to suggest we do, before we get carried away, is that we get the phone to the drop point, and if there's a journalist in there, or anybody who looks like they're media related, even a puff piece, we accidentally do some reply alls with the entire email chain attached, so they go to people who shouldn't get those messages. And then for extra drama to one of those people on the list, we should send one of the shirtless pictures, so it looks like things have gotten weird.
I can do that. I heard send shirtless pictures. I heard reply all. I heard embarrassing messages. I'm going to just email everybody. Isn't it weird that 9/11 was faked by the Swedish?
No.
What?
T.
It's a good idea.
No T. It has to not look like it's being done
Epstein
by
didn't commit suicide.
Has to look like it's not being done by a group of teenagers. It has to look like it's being done by a bumbling, oafish adult who doesn't know about the magic that these little rectangles contain.
I mean, if you want to blame Francesca for everything, this is a good opportunity to do that.
I think we've established that T says that they're having a Seeley moment and we can't blame Francesca. What we can do is get this information into the hands of people who will be able to use it. I don't think everyone knows about the double dealing, but for example, I bet if we forward him calling someone milk toast, they'll get moved to a little bit to act, or they'll at least cry enough that it'll show and someone will ask if they're okay.
I have a question. My banality trigger is people explaining to me in great detail why my good ideas are bad ideas.
I would say that yes, this is in fact a banality trigger.
Okay. Because it's a terrible idea, but also Tia doesn't need to know that. So how do I roll with that? What do I do with that?
Okay, so you're going to need to roll a number of dice equal to your glamour.
Oh. I only have 2 glamour right now. I've been spending them. I got a 7 and a 1.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh
no.
no.
Oh boy.
Okay. Oh, it's not that bad. Okay. So, the difficulty for glamour is 8. And so since you did not roll a success and you rolled a 1, you botch again. And because it is a botch, you gain
That's
a
not
point.
that bad.
So you gain a point of banality for every 1 rolled, but you only got 1, so you only have to take 2 points of banality.
So I
Only
take 2 points of banality. Okay, so I'm up to
Yes.
5 banality.
Oh no.
What
Someone
does
get
that
the
do?
phone.
So you are getting points of banality, and you are not going to be in trouble until you get 10, and then you might risk getting a dot of banality.
Okay. I just
Someone-
look at it's a good idea, and I had it figured out, and I was already on it, and you're telling me not to do it, and I'm just trying to contribute. I've been contributing before,
Hug.
and so
Interrupt with hug.
okay.
It worked the first time.
Tia, you're brilliant and you're wonderful and you're intelligent. And I can't make my cell phone work. Could you work on it, please?
I could do that, and I grab the phone,
you
and
go.
I just start looking at it, and just going through and just typing and trying to figure it out. Oh, that's your password? And I just start going through, and I
I
just
take
start.
the phone and voluntarily subject myself to the terrible banality to do some social manipulation. Well, hyperventilating because I just gave Tia my great weakness, my access to my social media.
I'm just
Okay.
going over. My fingers are just.
How deep are you going into Amber's phone?
I mean, pretty. I'm just going through. I'm just trying to speed things up. So I'm just trying to help out by like getting rid of unnecessary files and like clearing caches and things like that.
So are you going to like read her messages, look at her email?
I'm clearing out her spam, so I might see something on accident, but I'm just like going through and like clearing out all of her unnecessary email. I'm going through her messages that she's been receiving and like muting the spam and everything. I'm just like trying to like optimize everything for her.
Okay, I'm
So
going to
I
send
might
you.
see things on accident, but
I'm
I
going
might
to
see
send
something.
you something in chat, and it will be up to you to decide how you want to respond.
Mhm. Okay.
So, would I?
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on. I haven't received a. Okay.
So, what I'm doing is fundamentally speaking politics, which I have noble bearing. I'm engaging in a little bit of political skullduggery, but I understand if that's not stretching something that I could do it with through my noble bearing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you decide whether that's okay. I'm following through with my plan to send the worst emails to the worst people.
Okay. Probably the worst email is 4 or 5 message exchange making fun of Willow St. John. Now, you know that this. So it would turn Willow against Paul, obviously. It wouldn't have a net effect since she was already planning on voting in favor of the school. But it is always a bad idea to trash talk your colleagues. And so if everybody saw the way that he was talking about Willow, of course it's, well, what is he saying about me when I'm not around?
Yeah. The other one that I was thinking about sending was the sign that he was doing evil dealings to the one who's a paranoid conspiracy hound, because they'd be all over that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to reply all inappropriately all over the place and assume that this is blown.
Okay.
You know what
y-
might be a good idea for the conspiracy
Brenda?
hound? You know, Princess gets closer so they can hear her.
Okay.
You know what might be a good idea for the conspiracy hound? Maybe we could convince him that the land is haunted, and so they shouldn't build anything crazy on there. Just leave it like it is.
I
We
just
could
stopped.
add- I lean on the tombstone that we're all gathered around. What do you think about that, Brendan? And I talk to the tombstone, which says Brendan on it.
Okay. So only Princess will hear it when Brandon says, I mean, I could throw some things around in front of people.
Okay, I nod and I pour some of the fireball on his grave. Yeah, Brendan thinks it's a good idea.
I
Who the fuck
stopped
is
with my-
Brandon, and why would you do that? Alexi says, gesticulating sadly at a random grave.
Oh, I don't think you need any more fireball.
But just why? Like, gesturing dramatically at the wasted booze.
I just turn. I look up from my phone. I look up from Isolt's phone, and I just look at her for a second, just sort of shocked and concerned, and then I just look back at the phone, and I just resume typing, just as fast as I can on my fingers, and everything, just moving forward on that.
I would
And then-
mention that Isolde has an unusually crap phone for someone as special and fancy as her.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That works for me. They've hit. Tia's hit a couple problems of the phone not picking up as fast as she's typing, but she's still going through.
Okay, so
All right.
we
So
leave this in a plausible location.
You could, because you still have a waiter friend dazzled by you, get him to leave it in the restaurant bathroom.
Perfect.
Or just give it to him and be like, hey, could you put this in your lost and found?
Perfect. Is everyone okay with that as a plan?
Yeah, you get a lot
Yes.
of messages from guys that you don't follow. Like a
Oh.
lot.
I know. A surprising quantity of them ask me for feet pics. I sent them pictures of hobbits. So far, none of them have realized that it's not me.
Oh my gosh! And I just start Googling hobbits.
And their hobbits
Oops,
have
that's-
unusually hairy feet.
But like, there's nothing wrong with like being overly hairy, right?
There's nothing
Right.
wrong with
Mhm.
being overly hairy. But I'm a
Oh.
she. I don't think we're capable of any body hair other than eyelashes and eyebrows.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
No,
Uh,
absolutely. Alexi says, scratching his entire hairy body.
Yeah. As he scratches his hair, you can see like little goat horde nubbins, usually covered by his very thick hair.
Don't worry,
so-
you're a perfect little yeti.
So, Tia, you managed to come across an old Usenet archive. It's 1,000 messages long. A debate at alt.fan.tolkien. Did the hobbits wear boots?
Oh. Oh.
When they walk in snow, do they wear boots? And apparently, fans have very definite opinions about this.
Tia has not read The Hobbit, but she's seen the movies, and she logs in. She has opinions.
So this is archived. This is from like 1998.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then I just start scrolling to the bottom to see who won.
Well,
Nobody.
They still have,
Nobody wins internet flame wars, especially not on alt.fan.tolkien.
On the minus side, they all have their email addresses there, so Tia could be happily sending emails from my poor character because they never bothered to not use Isolde's email.
Right. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
Oh, by the way, do I get a
moving-
sorry? Do I get a point
Yes.
of? I think I get glamour whenever I'm working on something on a non-chimerical device that doesn't belong to me.
yes,
that-
you do.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
you do.
Sweet. Okay.
A noble sacrifice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a point of glamour back. Okay,
Alright.
so to establish what has happened, you are going to go back to the restaurant and get your waiter friend to just turn the phone into lost and found. And given how spectacularly you obtained the phone, it's entirely plausible that somehow it fell out of his pocket or whatnot. So, and that is a boring scene, so I'm just going to hand wave it. That happens. And
Okay.
then we are also going to forward a long string of emails that is going to expose Paul Grant's double dealing, and also that he has a less than professional attitude towards his colleagues. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And a shirtless pic. Probably to the one he called milk toast.
Okay.
Oh. That's like insult on top of injury. Oh.
Okay. But
No, just something about like explaining the whole plan and then just taking a long drink of something. Just really, we're putting you through stuff.
it
Oh,
is Tullamore Dew.
You need a drink?
No,
Can I have my
okay.
phone back now, please?
I
Here.
take the phone and I right. Sorry. Here you go.
Thank you.
And-
You're the best, Tia.
Thanks, Amber.
Okay.
And I
And
just
I had more icons on my little phone desktop.
oh yeah, I cleaned it up a little bit.
Where did
don't
you
worry.
find the animated puppy background? Did you write this?
Well, it's just something I had stored online that I thought maybe I'd use at some point, and I thought maybe
It's a
it might work right now.
corgi. It's a corgi being chased around by a little robot.
I'm glad you like it.
And now the corgi's chasing the robot.
I thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Thank you.
All right, where are we?
Okay. Is there anything you guys would like to do to follow up on this over the next few days?
I'd be listening to find out the fallout from the adults gossiping, but right now I'm stumping like crazy to get Francesca elected as prom queen. Because
Okay.
I'm going out of my way to be, and I'm being sincere about this. So this is kind of a double whammy that if she thwarts my plans, she may find herself getting herself out of being prom queen.
Okay. So you spend a couple days campaigning for her, and as far as you can tell, it seems to be going well. It seems like the school sort of expected you would want to run against her, and there's really nobody else who has a good chance of winning the election.
Absolutely not. We should avoid anything that puts girls in competition with one another. We're sisters.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people buy that argument. Tia, you get another text message from Francesca while this is going on, asking, "Were you behind the emails?"
I write back, no, and then I write back, of course not, and then I write back, what emails?
Oh.
You get a response from her that says, "That little shenanigan cost my family some serious money. Fix it or else." And then 3 more pill emojis.
Okay. I just write back, okay, and then I write back, tomorrow?
Soon.
Okay. And then I go home and I guess I'm home, and then I just go to my garage and I just start fixing a car that wasn't necessarily broken.
Okay. Billy, you get a text message from Kara, your Selkie friend on the swim team.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks if you and your friends are planning on going to the Seining at the Freehold in a few days.
What? I don't know if that was the plan, but we're just writing back the what?
Yeah. She asks you, hey, are you and your friends planning on going to the Seining in a few days?
Right, no, the what?
She responds back, you know, the Seining. The pod has decided that we should show up, for goodwill, but I don't want to go alone because that would be boring.
Charlie has no idea what that is, to be fair.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Fine.
Okay. That's just sitting back. Well, we weren't planning before. Might be now. When?
She says Friday night at the big freehold.
Is that's not the same night as the same night or time as the board meeting?
Yeah. Yeah. And so she follows up with some second grader woke up she last year. Now Dame Morgause of House Dougal is joining Countess Anne of Islanded's court at the freehold of Midnight Merriment.
Send back to her. Definitely planning on going now. And then also can I forward that invitation to the rest of the Gift and Talented?
Yes. And so at this point, for the benefit of people who haven't played Changeling very much, your Motley, the Gifted and Talented Motley, you are under the impression, taught to you by Miss Darling, that once you graduate, once you become an adult, you will be ready to join a real freehold. But apparently this third grader is joining a freehold already, and it seems legit, even though you have never heard of any of these people. Amber will recognize the names as being the names of she houses, and you guys can roll remembrance.
Oh
if
boy.
you do.
How many dice is that?
However many dots of the remembrance background you have.
Backgrounds. Arts, realms, arts.
I rolled a 7 and a 9.
Okay.
Backgrounds. Mentors, allies, title. I do not have any remembrance.
Yeah, she tend not to do the whole past lives thing unless they're special. So Billy should have many dots of remembrance.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to find them.
Should be bottom left of the character sheet. Under backgrounds.
Gosh, thank you.
I should probably tell Mrs. Darling what we're doing. I think we should probably tell Mrs. Darling what we're doing. She's supposed to be looking out for us.
Okay, let me find out how many successes people got on remembrance.
What constitutes a success for it?
6 or more.
Yeah,
Remember
2
that tends to
successes.
explode.
Yeah.
You got 2 successes.
4 successes.
Okay.
2 lines and 8
So Tia, you sort of have this rush of memories from several of your past lives, and you remember, like, oh, saning is how you join a freehold. It generally happens about a year after your chrysalis, and there's no age restriction. And so, Billy, you have a very vivid memory of you're younger than you are now, full on like hippie wear, going through your last saning and knowing that it's only been 6 months from your chrysalis, but because the war against the She is ramping up, they need fighters now. And you also remember, oh, I was Sealy in the past life. So it is very, very unusual for Fae to change their legacy. It usually takes a lot. And you remember, like, oh, unseelie trolls are really rare.
Not great.
I mean, like, it's not that they're not great, it's just that they're extremely rare. And you're like, why did I become unseelie? And then, like, your body's just like, nope, we're not going there.
That's fair. Okay. That's
Oh my.
sounds like we're going to this though.
Okay, and so the two of you may relay this to your friends as you wish.
Yeah, I texted this is unusual, and I texted all the information about how this sort of conflicts and what sort. I just forward what I know, and I'm like, this doesn't sound right. Like, this sounds different. What do you think? What does everyone think?
Backed you up with at least some of what I remembered. I think less of the Sealy unsealy stuff, but it's also just phrased in those it's phrased in phrases, not sentences. They're short, they're choppy, they're just the bullet points, but it's without the bullet points. So, like, just confirming that.
Okay, so Lubri is having some connectivity problems. So, Amber and Princess, how do you respond?
I respond that I want to ask Mrs. Darling what's going on with that, since this doesn't sound like what she taught us, and she might know, since she's been around longer than we are, and it's her job to help and educate us. So of course she's going to help.
She's also the one who fed us with sort of starting to sound like a lot of bullshit.
So, do you feel like this is a betrayal, Billy?
Shit.
I'm guessing that's a banality.
A little bit worse.
Oh no.
I mean, it's up to you. You could be maybe not yet. I need more investigation.
I think it's a needing more information, and
Okay.
I don't think I think betrayal is a strong word right now.
Okay.
Oh, we'll get there.
No.
I don't think Isolde is thinking of this as being a betrayal herself, because ultimately Amber Arlington is still just a kid. Albeit she's an older teenager, but as much as she tries to act like she's a 40-something terrifying old queen, at the end of the day, she's still a 17-year-old.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Amber is 17, but Isolde is 3,000 years old.
Oh.
Yes, but Amber and Isolde are
She
not
says
completely
washroom.
merged individuals, and Amber still has the innocence of a wildling of believing that ultimately the adults mostly have our best feelings at heart, even if sometimes we really hate them, we still love them.
Okay, and Princess, did you say something?
Oh yeah, I just said that you can tell she's 3,000 because she says washroom.
That's true.
Well,
Schedule.
Okay, so are you going to call Miss Darling? Are you going to wait for school the next day?
I think I'd call Miss Darling because I'm presumptuous enough to assume I can bother her outside of work hours. I am, after all, a she, and although technically I'm in charge, it's normal for people to have sensible and useful tutors if they're nobles, and that's what I kind of see her as. She's like
Okay,
a governess.
okay. So you call her, she picks up the phone. Darling residence?
Mrs. Darling,
Oh, hello, dear. How can I help you?
so I have a couple of things that I wanted to tell you about. First of all, we've been doing some things to properly protect the gifted and talented program, and I've been doing everything you told me about it being my role to be a good leader for the group. And
Mm-hmm.
also, we got this invitation for a seining, and there's a third grader that's getting seined in. What's going on there? Are they from a completely different group or something?
So there's a really long silence, and then she follows up with, "Who told you that?"
Oh, well, all the other Fae know about it, and it makes me look really stupid that I don't know what's going on. Could you tell me a little bit more about it? It's very hard to do my job if I don't know.
Which other Fae?
Well, all of them at this point.
Well, who told you about this?
All the other Fae.
Do you mean the other children?
No, there was other Fae.
And so, like, there's another silence, and she says, "I should go." No. You have to understand that changeling politics can get you killed. And I wanted to make sure that you were all ready for that. And and I'm proud of what I've been doing. And it's not like they let Boggins run freeholds to begin with.
Mrs. Darling, what's going on?
Nothing.
Sorry.
Mrs. Darling, is this appropriate conduct for one who keeps the world safe and in order?
Well, when you put it that way, I really feel like I've done the best for you and your friends.
Mrs. Darling, do you know what I am?
Of course.
And what's that?
Well, you are a very bright young woman with a
No,
brilliant
Mrs.
future ahead of
Darling,
you.
I am not a bright young woman. I am a she. I am noble born and bred. I am born to be in politics. Perhaps you could play that little game with my friends. They are sweet and they deserve to be protected. But there is no better death for me than to die in the throes of noble politics.
And so Mrs. Darling's voice takes on this chilliness that you have just never heard her. And she says, "Are we going to fight the Accordance War again?" And then she hangs up.
Princess kind of appears out of a shadow. That went well.
I am so tired of adults thinking they know what's best for me. Thinking
This
they
makes
can
you
put
want to
me in a
sleep for
little
3,000
box.
years.
We're technically hiding in Arcadia for.
Yeah, maybe you could go
500.
back to the moon.
Princess, now is not the time.
To go back to the moon.
So, okay, so how much of this is relayed back to us?
This is getting shared with everybody.
Okay.
Oh, the call was?
Okay.
Yes, every detail. You think my character is capable of hiding when she's having a strong emotion? No, when she feels something, everybody's got to know about it. Everyone.
Okay.
He's even vague booking on Facebook about this. There's no fairy nonsense, but there's some very angry gifs and lots of comments about I'm not a little girl. I never was.
Can I roll?
Your mom responds to that by posting some baby pictures, and you'll always be my little girl.
Oh, that's
Can I
both
roll-
adorable and infuriating.
Roll remembrance to see if I remember anything about the Accordance Wars or anything like that.
You don't want to turn around and ask?
Sorry.
Yeah, you could ask.
All right, so I just asked. I said, "What was she talking about? What's going on?"
Mrs. Darling is keeping us as her little pets, so she can play commoner as queen.
Oh.
So, should we consider joining that third grader's freehold?
Yeah.
What?
So,
Possible.
Bad pitch.
Possibly there's even better freeholds for us, ones which we belong in.
so
Do we want to save this program?
what? Very quickly, what Miss Darling would have taught you about the Accordance War was that it's sort of biased, by which I mean extremely biased. The she abandoned the world long ago, and for a long, long time, nobody knew where they went. So they'd gone to Arcadia to try and flee burgeoning banality into the world, but the problem was that they shut the door behind them, so nobody else could follow. And so in 1969, the whole world is united in wonder and inspiration when man first lands on the moon. And this unity of imagination just glamour blankets the whole world. And this is enough to empower the she to come back. And when they came back, they wanted to assert their traditional right to rule. And of course, the commoners had been doing just fine on their own and resisted.
Not really commoners if the nobles aren't there, are you?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this is America. I mean, no more kings and all that.
Yes,
And
we don't acknowledge our class differences in America. We merely know that they're there as a natural order.
From the Canadians.
What? Yeah, that's really just not how it works.
Were you sleeping through those classes on government? Do you not know the economics of our country?
I take out my iPhone 11 and tap on it for a little bit, and put it back in my Gucci bag. What?
Isol, but you're
There's
not.
no more intra-generational social mobility.
Do you think?
What are you talking about? Are you speaking English right now?
So very quickly, the important thing that Miss Darling taught you was that the old generation of she were awful and oppressive and mean, but the new generation are much nicer and they simply need to be taught proper leadership. Which,
yeah. So
that's a spin.
So in lieu of that, Alexi goes, but Isol, you're not like those she.
Yeah, you're not in charge.
Okay,
Princess?
princess. Put it that way.
Princess?
But what I was trying to what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, like you feel like you need to lead because you're a she and all that, but like you know when to step aside. Like you know when to swallow your pride. Like you're not like them.
But
You're
maybe
What
like
she
makes
needs
you
to
think
step
that's
up.
not the fundamentals of nobility? And what makes you
Maybe
think that's not the fundamentals of power?
because I know you. I know that Isolt would not the Isolt I know allowed Francesca to have the illusion of power. I know that you are willing to step aside and swallow your pride for what you love.
I'm willing to step aside and swallow my pride to protect the freehold because I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah,
That's not
none
because
of
I
us are going to be
love
here
those
forever.
pokey little rooms where we've been waiting out our time until we can go out where there's real magic.
So let's just leave it behind now. Like the project, the only person we're leaving behind is Miss Darling.
Well, and like
Oh.
all the Fae that come after us in the school who just become banal, nothings. Like
Then
Mr. What's his face? Who
We're
like
leaving
lost his
them.
face seeming.
We're leaving them in the care of Mrs. Darling. She's collecting dolls.
okay, so then we kill her and we put a new Mrs. Darling in place.
could just close the program.
That's not a good idea either. You don't burn down the house because you're scared of spiders.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with Amber.
Well,
I mean,
Don't be
you
scared of
could
spiders.
But you can't put out the fire from inside the house either.
you could try and maybe work with the vice president that Princess brought up. He's not entirely gone yet.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Glamour,
did I
do we-
mention that what's his face is like a boggin or something?
Do we have enough? How much glamour do we have? I think we need to go wake someone up.
I have a bunch.
I have a bunch.
You also know that there is a lot of low-level dross, which is like little art projects and creative endeavors in solid form. That is dross. There is a lot of low-level dross in the Gifted and Talented workshop. That's obviously people were making stuff in there for years and years, and that adds up.
She's hoarding that. She should be sharing that. That is the commons. You do not put walls around the commons.
What do you mean she's hoarding it? She's not using it, is she? I mean, it's just
She's
sitting
got
there.
it all locked away, and there's another Fae who's starving without being able to properly touch it.
You mean what? Mr. What's his face?
Yes, it's just like back in the English Renaissance
Boyd.
when they started putting walls around the commons.
Yeah, I know. We're in the same AP history. So what do you want to do? You want to like, I don't know, sprinkle some fairy dust on Mr. What's his face?
Well, I've never attempted to wake someone up. You think that'll work? What's the worst that could happen? Bad sneezing? Maybe. Oh, I know what we can do. Concerted collective inspiration is what brought the she back. So we go tell him about how inspired we are and how much we're working, and we bring him all the hope and the joy that we've been pushing into bringing the Gifted and Talented program back, and we bring him in there and show off what we're working on.
All right.
I was thinking that we frame Ms. Darling instead of Francesca, but I like your plan more. Your plan's better, Isolt.
I appreciate that, T. It's nice to be acknowledged. Now,
So
when
do,
it comes
Better to like be acknowledged
to
or like actually a good idea as opposed to like just because you have to be in charge.
I have to be in charge. That's just the way things work. I don't tell you to get a tan.
she doesn't.
What?
I acknowledge what you are, and I respect that.
What?
I
So what
don't
are we
tell
doing?
you. We're going to figure out the biggest, most wonderful sign of how much hope and effort we're putting into saving this. Remember how all the clubs were supposed to get together?
Oh, we're back to that? Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. We're going to
When does
make
that have to
sure that we get together with all the clubs, pulling them together, and we make sure that the first person who becomes aware of all our hopes and joys and everything that we're pooling for one purpose, no club being neglected or abandoned, is the first thing he's aware of. And that might push him out of his doldrums.
Okay. And Storyteller, when are we meeting with him? Is it tomorrow?
That is entirely up to you, but I imagine this is probably happening some point in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we would need like a montage.
Yes.
Painty, get together with the drama people, decide with the drama people whether we should do a performance of One More Day from Les Miserables, or if we should just do a depiction of what happens to teenagers if they don't have wholesome after-school activities, and get like balloons to fake pregnancy bellies, and borrow some empty alcohol bottles and some spray paint to show us getting up to delinquency if we don't have after-school activities.
I
mean,
text Francesca.
You're like, let's talk about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. And Bianca's like, hey.
I'm gonna text Francesca, and I'm just gonna be like, we need to meet early. I have an emergency, and that's all I'm gonna tell her right now.
Okay, she says 7:30 by the flagpole.
Okay, and then I just get there. I'm like, I'm gonna need all the scrap, and I just started like grabbing random stuff in the garage for like making like props and devices and noisemakers and things, and just start preparing all of it.
Okay. So you have a whole bunch of scrap, tools, materials. You could make pretty much any sort of mechanical doodad you want with this.
Oh, I don't know how much time do I have. I want to make floating signs. I want to make another noisemaker. I want to make flashing lights. I want to make a confetti cannon. That one's important.
So you can very easily make these as chimerical objects.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want them to be things that mortals can see and interact with, that will be more difficult.
Okay.
Glitter cannon? Fill it with regular glitter?
I'm gonna make a glitter cannon.
Okay. With all the car parts and tools you have access to, you will probably need to borrow glitter from Amber. But I also imagine that Princess's family. I also imagine that Princess's family has the echo glitter made from eucalyptus.
Yeah, they probably have all that garbage. They're really into that eco stuff.
You can't just like take a salt and shaker like Tinkerbell.
Yeah, well, actually, why don't you guys all come over to my place and we can like do this project? Because like my parents, they're always in the East Wing, so like we'll be all by ourselves.
All right, no, I heard shaking Isolt and I don't like it.
Okay.
That is a Kithist characterization. You do not gain the powers of flight by shaking she.
Do we at least just get the glitter?
Okay, so we're not going to make getting the glitter into a thing. You have glitter. You have a glitter cannon. Have a glitter cannon.
What about Princess? What's Princess doing for their club?
Well, I can make like a portrait of the teachers, but like make it fantastical, and that way I can portray Vice Principal Boyd and Ms. Darling in their like chimerical aspects, and maybe I could use some like spider web and essence of night in the portrait.
Ooh, I have
Okay.
chills. Are you going to portray our evil mogul as something terrible too in like the bottom dark corner?
I'll just exclude him because he's like not a teacher,
Okay.
so he like won't be there. But you're right. Maybe I could like watermark his like evil face in the background or something with like
Good,
tears.
good. Let the
Okay.
propaganda rise.
Okay. So, you have all been able to contribute to your various clubs. Rian, the person who is part of the robotics club and sort of pulling it all together, thinks this is great, and they're going to come up with like this super killer presentation. It's totally going to secure funding, especially because like now Paul Grant apparently like fell from grace, and you know his dad, who is one of the members on the school board, was like, this is suspicious and wrong. So, based on sort of the gossip that you're hearing, you're pretty sure that you can get Mr. Morrison's vote. You know, and of course, Paul himself, he's in a very precarious position because now if he votes to cut the budget, it looks really bad.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, there are politicians who don't care how they look. But anyway, no real politics. Moving on. Tia is meeting Francesca at 7:30 in the morning.
So
Just
bad.
Are we doing that? Are we doing that right now? Because I just go up to Francesca and I want to look around to make sure that nobody else is around, and I just say, hey.
I mean, you can look for me.
That's fair. I just say, hey, hey, it's me, it's Tia. How are you today?
I'm fine. What do you want?
I mean, like, everything's good. Your family's okay and everything.
We'll be fine.
Okay, cool. Just I got like a couple of long days ahead of us, and I was just wondering if maybe we could do this a little extra.
Sure.
Okay. And I just contribute my part. And I just say, and I'm sorry about everything that happened, if anything happened.
Whatever. I'm gonna be prom queen.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay, well,
So
thanks. And I like, yeah.
she holds out her hand.
Okay, I pull out what I've scrapped together money-wise, and I give it to her.
Okay.
And
She will reach into her jacket pocket, pull out a small pill bottle, and hand it over.
thank you. And I just take one immediately.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Thanks.
Now get out of here before someone sees us together and thinks we're friends.
Okay.
I won't
It
think
was-
you're friends.
Okay, well, nice talking to you. We should hang out sometime. Bye.
No, we shouldn't.
And
Goodbye.
Okay. And I just leave.
Okay.
You know? And I just take
All
one,
right.
and I'm gonna go see what else I can come up with while I'm feeling it.
Okay. So are you guys going to visit the assistant principal? Are you going to wait for the presentation?
I think we should visit the assistant principal and we should make sure that he's primed to pay extra attention to this. I think that getting a proper lead in so he's gotten warmed up is a good idea.
Okay.
Everyone in agreement?
Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
Oh, do we still want to do any haunting, by the way? Like with the ghosts?
Why not? Let's throw everything in.
Me as well.
I don't really think ghosts are real, though.
Only Princess will hear Brandon say, "Hey!" And Princess, Isol, the temperature drops dramatically right where you are.
Given what we know,
Geez, the air
Um,
conditioner's broken in here.
I mean, Princess is herself, so maybe we shouldn't, maybe we shouldn't, doubt anything. I mean, you can tell people what to do and they do it, and, I can walk through existences, so,
Maybe not be lifist.
yeah, maybe have an open an open mind about what everyone else is capable of.
All right, I guess ghosts are real.
I mean, one of the beautiful things about being dead is, you don't really care what other people think about you anymore. It's pretty awesome.
And
Why do ghosts hang around if they don't care then?
They have their reasons.
And you hear Brandon say, "It's kind of boring, but it's better than." And then he just stops talking.
Brandon says it's better than the alternative.
You know, I'm going to leave that a mystery. It's my understanding that when I die, that's it, and I evaporate. Kind of like the real Little Mermaid into Seafoam.
And Brandon says, "I've never actually seen a changeling in the Shadowlands."
Yeah, no, I think that's all we get. Well, I mean,
this is over, we can talk about it. But I'm just whatever. Let's go talk to asshole principal.
no, the good one. Our very suppressed, but definitely a Fey vice principal.
Yeah, let's get this bread.
Okay, everybody.
Okay.
Happy faces. Look as wholesome as you're possible. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, Princess. Look as best as you are as possible.
All right, so the vice principal does not immediately tell you to go back to class. I'm going to assume that this is happening at lunchtime.
Yes, we make sure that he's properly primed so that when we do the presentation, we get him to promise he'll be front row and center.
Okay. So you walk into his office. He's eating lunch at his desk. And as you are talking to him, all of you will occasionally see flashes of a fairy meme. The tipped ears are pretty normal for every kith except Selkie because they're weird. You see little beady eyes, and I don't mean beady is wrong, just sort of animalistic, and you sort of get the feeling that whatever this guy is leans heavily into being a squirrel.
I don't kink shame.
Yeah, so Alexi's part goat, this guy's part squirrel. And so he looks up from his working lunch at his desk and he says, "Oh, hello children. You weren't sent here, were you?"
No. We came here to see you.
Yeah.
We've all been working together as a school on a big project, and we want to make sure you promise you're going to see it. Promise?
Oh, yes, of course. I love watching whenever you youngsters come up with something creative. And so when he says that, his meme flashes a little more. Like when he says that, he's sort of leaning into his Fey self, but he's still reacting to you as if you are simply mortal children.
We're ready right now if you want to see. If you want to see.
Yeah, we figured that we could because everyone's practicing their segment of the project, so we thought that maybe you could give us some opinions
Feedback.
on our part.
Every
And
kid
so
in the school working together on the same creative aim with their own inspiration.
And
So
confetti or glitter.
So the mean comes forward a little bit more and he says, I would love to. But then he looks back at his computer and says, but I have some paperwork I need to do, unfortunately, and it just goes away.
It can wait. You're on your lunch.
We need you.
Just want to elbow T and just sort of nod towards the computer. Not just can you handle that? That's tech is your thing.
Oh.
Anything from
I'm going to
back here?
try and use Mooch, which
Okay.
since it allows me to steal a small object,
Okay.
I'm going to try and steal the plug that plugs in the computer.
Yes.
So
Is that allowed?
I won't let you have the plug, but I assume your goal is just to unplug the computer.
Yes. Or I could steal the hard drive. I could steal the hard drive from the computer or the battery or something. something small.
I'm gonna say that he would notice you trying to crack his computer chassis.
No, I mean just Mooch. I'm just gonna try and.
But you can use Mooch just to unplug the computer.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna use Mooch and let's see. How do I? Okay, I've got prop is 5, and then where do I see my Mooch is 2? So I roll 7 dice. What's the difficulty?
6.
I got 2 successes. One of them was an exploding 10.
Awesome. So yeah, you just sort of look around, walk near the outlet, and then oops, the plug's on the floor.
Oh,
Oh no!
So-
The plug, and since your files don't automatically save, it's going to take you forever to recover all of that. I don't know how that happened, but I guess you're on break now.
So Mr. Boyd looks at his monitor just blanking out, and he's like, oh, and he remembers that he's in the presence of children and sort of chokes back whatever profanity he was about to scream.
Come on.
Yeah, you're on your
It'll
break.
be fun.
Yeah,
Well,
why not enjoy
These
seeing
underfunded.
Please.
And so he says, these underfunded pieces of crap take a half hour to reboot. So, of course, I would be delighted to look at your presentation.
Sorry about your piece of crap.
Yay!
And so he gets up and I'm sorry?
Oh, I said sorry about your piece of crap.
Come on. Yay!
Yay!
Just shakes his head. All right, so he comes with you, where Rian and the rest of the robotics club, they're all fine-tuning the presentation, and they're like, oh, Mr. Boyd, because, he's everybody's favorite principal. He's the nice one. So you show him, the amazing light show that you've got going on. And it is a part of who Mr. Boyd is, in that professional art actually has less of an effect on him than normal. What he really loves is the effort put forward by talented amateurs. And so he really loves this is aesthetically, objectively, it's not that great. But all you teenagers are pouring your heart and soul into this. And so you watch
Sorry,
him.
I didn't contribute so much then, guys.
You contributed enough. The art club is very busy
That's
helping.
true. The art club's all amateurs. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so as you watch the performance, you see his fey mean sort of come farther and farther to the surface until finally he's standing before you, Squirrelkin, pretty much. He's got He's got like little tufts of hair behind his ears, and he's got a little chimerical bushy tail.
Oh.
Like you're not sure where it's coming out of because like there's no hole in his pants, but it's a chimerical tail.
Esau, Esau, he's a squirrel. He's a squirrel.
And then he looks back at all of you, and you see recognition in his eyes. Like you see him and he sees you.
Hi.
And then he says, "There's absolutely no way that this will do anything."
Can I smack him?
You can try.
Just like a kind of like a snap out of it. So yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Like, and so he looks shocked and he's like, "I am being honest. Do you doubt that the ability of a puka to evaluate properly art? And you have heard of puka. You have never met a puka. But what Miss Darling has told you is that puka have a very tenuous relationship with the truth. They can never actually tell the truth. They always couch it in lies and contradictions and equivocations."
Okay. So when he says that,
Oh,
Alexia goes, "Yes, I do doubt you."
Good.
Say that again. Sorry.
He said good.
Alexia says,
would you?
"I doubt you, and I need you, and I give him a hard jab in the chest. Not principal fuckface, not slave to banality. You need to frigging show us. Give us a goddamn hint, a riddle. Give me a riddle."
Oh, I hate riddles so bad.
Give me a riddle to solve to save this school.
Oh my god, watching Alexi solve a riddle, that'll take a while.
This is not a lie.
We're doomed.
Oh my god. Oh,
All right.
let me get that flask out.
All right. So can I use enigmas and I guess wits
Uh-huh.
to discern what in fresh hell?
So I'm giving it to you that you all understand that he's a puka.
Mhm.
Yes.
So what would you be trying to accomplish with this role?
We're just trying to keep him awake, and I would like to see what would happen if I introduce him to Mrs. Darling to see what happens when they interact.
I am going to play into his game and try to and call his bluff. I am trying to keep him mentally stimulated right now.
Okay.
So can I roll enigmas and I guess was it be wits or intelligence?
This is kind of thinking on your feet, so let's go with wits.
Okay. It's a 1, 2. I got an exploding. 3. I'm gonna roll my explode really quick. All right. 5 successes.
Okay. So you see him look around, and he looks at the motley, and he looks at like the other kids who look really upset at what he's just said.
Don't worry, guys. He's just been listening to some of the things that Princess says. It's a cone.
And so he says, I believe I took a short vacation not that long ago. Home now. And he looks at the other children who are like really distressed at what he just said. And you see him sort of summon up like what he can say, and he says, I'm sure everyone will love it. And so you can sort of tell like he just spent a willpower to tell the truth.
Okay. And
And
Alexi,
then to you, he
Okay.
says, I think we should continue speaking in front of an audience.
I
say,
gently
Somewhere
shift
And I
him
said,
to
okay.
go look at the other projects.
so before I cut Amber off and say, good, you should introduce us to the board.
And he looks at you and he asks, now?
I go, when it's time, we need to keep speaking in front of an audience.
And so he says, you children have been misbehaving. Go to the principal's office.
Only if you will walk us there and explain our crime.
I start to march to the principal's office.
He said, yeah, and he says, he says, I don't have to explain myself to you as he starts walking.
It's like, you don't have to explain it to us, you have to explain it to them.
Oh,
And I point-
Alexi,
point
could you
off-
stop? Alexi, stop arguing.
No,
Just follow
no,
the guy.
No. And I say as I start walking, no. He needs to explain to the principal why we misbehaved. And I take Tia by the hand and I'm walking her with me.
Okay. So you guys end up in the principal's office with Mr. Boyd, who is now come into his own as a squirrel puka. And he shuts the door, and as soon as nobody else is watching, he gives a very deep bow to his soul and says, my lady.
My dear Puka, it is nice to finally properly meet you.
That it is.
Some
Lie.
mayor.
Remember,
sorry?
he can only lie.
Some may or may not call me Evan Boyd in this lifetime. It is a pleasure to meet all of you that I cannot describe.
What were you never called?
Today, let us use Evan Boyd.
Hi, Evan Boyd. You're a squirrel. That's great. My persona's a raccoon, but that's not important right now.
And then, like he looks back at his chimerical tail and kind of wiggles it a little bit.
This is splendid.
So,
Of course, we still have the small issue of our tiny little glamour pocket in being dire danger of being defunded. But it
Ah,
felt necessary to use what time we had to rouse you.
my influence over the school board is vast and mighty, and surely I will be able to control every vote.
oh, well, then we're saved.
But
Wait.
Well,
No.
what do you think of Mrs. Darling?
And so he looks and he's like, ah. A small oasis in a vast desert of paperwork.
Oh dear, that bad?
And so he looks back at his computer, sees that it's unplugged, goes back in to plug it in.
I put my foot on the cord so that he can't pull it up.
Is
Do we-
it your preference then that I fall into bedlam rather than forgetting?
I raise an eyebrow at him.
Is this one of those grump things that I won't understand until I'm older?
maybe yes, maybe no. And so he looks back at Alexi and says, is your preference for me bedlam rather than undoing?
Very hesitantly, Alexi lifts his foot. He says, no emails.
No emails. So he gets up, plugs it back in, and points to his outbox full of files and paperwork, and says, behold the millstone around my neck.
Well, I feel that you should take some time to devote yourself to the gifted and talented program as well. I think it would do you some good.
But Miss Darling runs it so well already.
No, she does not.
Doesn't she? Kind of lies. Not in the fun way. I mean, Isol can tell you, but it's maybe time someone else took over.
Yeah, but I mean, at least she's here. I mean, this jerk off has been asleep at his computer this whole time, letting us suffer, and now he wants to go back to it. Just go back to the sleep, run away like, like you know who.
I'm not entirely sure this was completely voluntary.
So he says, obligation has been the doom of many of our kind. And he looks back to his paperwork and says, I wonder what the budget is for an assistant principal.
Sounds like something to table at the vote.
Oh my gosh.
You could do that, or we could do it as like an intern. You can volunteer. You could.
Francesca
Can do it.
Perfect. It'll give her the power she craves, but it won't hurt any of us.
Yeah, and then that'll look good on a resume, and she'll be good.
Exactly. It'll be petty, small, and terrible for anyone she gets her claws into. But on the other hand, no one who matters will get hurt immediately by access to this. Francesca would make a perfect intern assistant vice principal.
I don't think students can do that kind of thing.
I'm sorry, say that again, Princess?
I don't think students can do that kind of thing.
Princess, shut up.
I think it's true. Also, Francesca smells.
And so Mr. Boyd will say, student assistants have been seen before. The important thing is that she must be a terrible gossip.
I guess. Well, that rules all of us out.
She will be exactly what you need.
I don't.
She is. I can promise you. I can promise you that Francesca is the soul of discretion.
But okay, now I think we're getting kind of confused because he's saying that he wants somebody who can keep their mouth shut, and Francesca can definitely not keep her mouth shut.
Oh, I think she can.
Are we talking about like? No, never mind.
No, we're not talking about that.
We're doomed.
Also, Rachel.
Yes.
Is Francesca often? I mean, I've just been kind of playing this by ear. But does she often have ghosts around her by chance?
No. Brandon Morris wants nothing to do with her.
Okay, so ghosts avoid her.
Yes, they do.
Okay. All right.
What about making Miss Darling your assistant president?
She's been working with the school so long, she deserves a promotion. That's a wonderful idea.
Look, I see what's going on, and I think really the question here is that these two idiots have to work together or nothing's going to happen. Like, I know where you're coming from, Amber. You want to get rid of Miss Darling because you've got this whole, like, privilege thing going on, but I actually like what Miss Darling is talking about. So maybe if these two jerk-offs work together, like this guy's obviously got this whole thing where he like bows and scrapes anybody with like the whiff of a tiara.
It's cute that you think you understand my motives.
Oh no, I don't understand your motives.
Well, Isolde, what if you were the
You
intern?
think that this was some sort of revenge scheme that I'm doing to her to get rid of her. I'm talking about spreading the load.
Isolde, what if you were the assistant?
Do
So
I look like someone who can keep my mouth shut?
Mr. Boyd looks really shocked when you suggest that, and he's like, "Are you suggesting that I burden she with the same paperwork that drove me into forgetting?"
Oh my gosh. I deep eye roll.
I'm just Bogans.
Press F.
Boggins have a really great tendency of taking care of people and things. And so I think Miss Darling has the right assets to help lighten your load and care for the school.
So he
What if
a thought that it's occurred to me a
Yeah.
1,000 times in one.
what if
I should speak with her. Not soon. And then he starts walking out of his office.
What?
He's going to go speak to Miss Darling, okay? He's like that movie with what's his face, you know? The maze?
Groundhog Day?
No, with the balls.
I think
That's
I'm
a
going to
lot of
trust the
movies.
grown-ups to know what they're doing. This sounds like a grump problem that the grumps are solving.
You might be right. Let's listen
Yeah.
in on them.
Okay, so that's your job description, and I give you full right to do that. I'm not going to interfere with your kid. I'm just going to make one thing clear. I'm not interested in any sort of revenge scheme against Mrs. Darling. She can't help what she is. She got a tiny little scrap of power based on I know what's best for you, and it felt good, and she wasn't hurting anyone. She was protecting people.
It's
The
'cause
only
she
punishment
thinks she's
she
the
needs,
adult, therefore she knows what's best.
but she doesn't.
No,
And-
but
And
because
you
she
do?
thinks. No, Amber, you're missing the point. She's already started to give in to the banality because she thinks she's an adult. She knows what's best. And using that kind of argument is the most boring and not fun argument we will ever hear in our lives. She's
That's
already
true.
started to give in. Let's just watch what happens.
No,
Yeah.
no, we do not do that to
Okay.
other Fae.
All right. So because I don't really want to roleplay with myself because that's weird. So Mr. Boyd goes to confront Miss Darling. And of course, because his Fey mien is on full display, she looks up and immediately recognizes, like, "Oh, you're awake again." And so, in the conversation, what you sort of pick up, Princess, who is eavesdropping, is that Miss Darling has actually tried giving Mr. Boyd dross from time to time and sort of trying to help sustain him, but he does a lot of paperwork every day, and so he's just like on the computer for a 6-hour stretch and just sort of falls asleep.
Mm.
And so now that he is fully awake again, he understands, hey, I need an assistant to help me with the more awful parts of being an assistant vice principal or a vice principal. And for some reason, they decide to approach Francesca Giovanni and see if she wants an elective period as a teacher's assistant.
Oh.
Worst, best idea.
Yeah, so as far as you can tell, there is no real enmity between them.
Okay.
I'm going to have to have a conversation later with Mrs. Darling. But not right now, after we've saved the Gifted and Talented program. So, where are we standing on that vote?
So, as far as you know, of course, Willow St. John is a definite yes. Andrew Morris is a definite yes. Paul Grant may not be able to vote yes. Jason Chang's vote is currently unknown. Karen Jessup's vote is currently unknown. So you can infer from the emails that you read that Jason Chang is highly suggestible.
So maybe that project could still go off.
Yes, we need the project and we need Willow's help. We need to tell Willow to make sure she's the last person who talks to him before the vote.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be one of you with your amazing fairy powers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think I'm currently the best at talking to people, but if I
Why
try to
not?
use amazing fairy powers in the middle of a gathering, people are going to notice.
Hey, crazy idea, bad pitch. Why not Billy?
You want him to beat him up?
No! Billy?
Threatened it?
No, dudes, what is wrong with you? Billy
Word.
is part of our program, but is also part of like outdoors and stuff, which, you know, is a really, you know, kind of important because they always encourage kids to go outside and do stuff. So like, why not let Billy show the best of like the two, like show the best of these two programs, you know? Like, give Billy a chance to fucking shine. Like, either like Princess is gonna breathe at them, or we're gonna like set off a car alarm. Like,
I mean, I would like manipulate the strands of fate to give Willow the best chance at convincing him. That was kind of like what I was thinking.
Why can't we do
Yeah,
it?
you can definitely do that.
Yeah, we should see how many different plans we can put into motion. Active chaos seems to be our specialty.
It's been working out.
I mean, if we've got to handle Jason and Karen Jessup both,
hmm
is there a way to split the difference there? If one of them's the described conspiracy hound and one of them's suggestible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can always try and convince the conspiracy hound that the attempt to defund the extracurricular activities is like it's either the deep state or it's the Russians or it's the Illuminati or like it's someone bad intending to weaken the education of American school children.
Blame the Canadians.
Don't get me started.
You can definitely blame the Canadians.
Planning that invasion from the north, you know, first step of that.
Oh, the
Undermining
strategy
education.
is brilliant. They snuff out every American achievement possible, and then they get all the gifted and talented immigrants.
Oh, can't
Well.
have that. Mm-hmm.
It's going on right now. Didn't you know?
No, I had no idea. Well, the
Now, who's going to sell that idea to our conspiracy theorist?
Okay.
I don't want to do that. I don't like talking to other people.
Okay. Do I go
Nice.
talk to him and sell him that idea? Because I can certainly tell him about how it's connected to the Saputo family up in Quebec, who controls the milk boards there with their protectionist industry.
I mean,
That sounds good.
I'm still
Like
going to say that Billy should
maple
try
syrup
and talk to
mafia?
them.
No.
Huh.
So, you know how there was this big fight about the trade agreements that used to be NAFTA and how there's complaints about the dairy in Canada being protected?
Yeah.
Well,
Do you now?
That's all right. So that's I guess I'm going to go tell him about that, since I seem to be the only one paying attention to conspiracy theories.
You're the only one who's paying attention to Canadian conspiracy theories, but I'll go with.
Hey, you guys are the only ones accusing the Canadians of conspiring.
Okay.
Literally nobody mentioned Canada but you.
All right.
So I have some talking to do.
All right, so you're gonna go to Karen Chestnut and convince her that Canadian witches are behind all of this?
The Canadian milk mafia.
Okay.
I like that. There's something about that, like sour milk.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that would probably be our specific.
I'm sorry, you got.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
broke up.
It's my turn to have gremlins. Yeah, so it's going to be manipulation plus empathy just to straight persuade her, unless you are more interested in using a cantrip.
Yeah, if I can get this person alone, I am perfectly happy to fry their poor little brain. Unfortunately, nowhere on my sheet do I see either manipulation or empathy, which feels a little weird given what I'm up to.
It's under social is manipulation, the attribute, and then
There is nothing. I'm not seeing a page here that says social.
Oh,
The top character sheet, attributes.
Yeah, because everybody got a character sheet and a cheat sheet.
Okay, let's see if I can find this.
Oh, and just to clarify for everyone out of character, my
Well,
legacy.
that's awkward. I'm missing my character sheet in this little pile.
I'll pull it up real
Okay.
fast.
Yeah, let me. I can also bring it up. But you were saying about your legacy?
Oh yes. My legacy is grotesque. So yeah, it's kind of my job to push buttons, shock, and insult people. I get willpower points. So just to clarify that, if anyone thinks I'm kind of picking on them.
Isolt's character sheet doesn't have numbers figured out on or filled out on mine.
Yeah, okay. Isolt, your manipulation is 3 and your empathy is 3.
So that means rolling 6 dice?
Yes.
Nice. And can I use Fate Fire to help her in that role?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I put Fate Fire on Isolt to improve her chances of success.
I am covered in burning spiders.
Oh no.
How much aid can we pile onto that? Because if I'm
I touch you on the shoulder and I whisper in your ear, I believe.
How much aid can we pile onto that, especially if I'm going with Isolt to back her up and throw in whatever I can think up or create up about the Canadian milk mafia?
Is that 6 dice or 7 dice now?
So, Princess will have to roll the Fate Fire cantrip. So roll your cantrip plus realm. And then the number of successes adds on to Amber's attempt.
Okay,
and then,
I'll do that real quick. That's 6 dice. So that's 4 successes. Damn.
Awesome.
So you get 4 extra dice. Or she just gets 4 extra successes.
No, 4 extra successes.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd wanted to hurt her, you could take away 4 successes, but
yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah. All right, and to answer Billy, like, yeah, you can sort of draw on your past life trauma to be like, I was there, man, in the maple trees, lost and alone. I didn't know where to go. The milk muffin is real. So that is an option if you would like. I will give Amber just a bonus 2 dice because we're already running over. So just go ahead and roll.
Okay, so I got 1-1. Sorry about that, guys. I got a 2. I got a 0 on my 10-sider. I got a 9. I got a 7, and I got a 5. Plus, I got those additional successes. I'm not sure what happens with this one.
So the 1 will take 1 success away, but you can re-roll the 10.
Okay, and the 10 turned into a 2.
Not the worst thing. So, with the 1 taking away successes, how many dice did you roll over 6?
I have 2 dice over 6, plus I have the additional 4 successes I got added, plus an additional 2
Okay.
dice.
All right. 6 successes. So yes, you come to this woman's house. It is a very busy, sprawling estate. There's a lot of that kitschy evangelical Christian artwork on the walls. Big picture of Jesus looking down, judging you. And as you interact with this woman, you understand like she's this strange mix of dreamer and autumn person because she has an affinity for the rules and keeping to the rules. But her mind is also open to every conspiracy theory imaginable. She's absolutely convinced that she knows exactly who shot JFK, and it's this very complicated theory involving alien Illuminati lizards.
Okay, and then Saputo bought out Baxter, which meant that they cornered the market in the Maritimes. And then with control over Eastern Canada, the Saputo family was unstoppable.
Never guess what I did there.
And so with your 6 successes, you totally manage to convince her with Billy talking about Charlie and the maple trees that this is the thing. So you have managed to secure her vote.
Hey.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Whew.
Good job.
Well, if I failed, I'd have to kill myself.
Oh, no.
And that's bad, because there's no such thing as ghosts, apparently. Or there might be.
Well,
There's
not
something
such
as
thing as
fairy ghosts.
Yeah, then that would
definitely
be
no she ghosts.
So what do we do now?
So you guys can go talk to Jason Chang. You can rely on the fabulousness of your presentation. It's up to you.
Maybe, do we know anybody who's definitely going to vote against this no matter what?
At this point, everyone is sort of wavery. Like, you can tell the poll really wants to vote in favor of the defunded budget, but it would make him look really bad if he did, and he's probably already lost his next election.
So maybe we could scare him so he doesn't show up.
Have a noisemaker.
Yeah.
I have all the noisemakers.
We could use the noisemakers and the ghosts, like really scary ghosts.
Okay.
And maybe like a bag of spiders. I pull out a bag. It may have spiders in it.
How many spiders are in that bag?
I mean,
It's
I'm not
all
saying
of
there's
them?
spiders in
brown
this bag.
paper bag.
There's only one way to
Schrodinger's
find out.
spider
You can
sack.
you go ahead and reach on in.
I have a question about the spiders, and it's actually 3 questions. And the first one is, how many do you have? And the third one is really a long question, but it involves a glitter cannon.
No,
As long as it doesn't hurt the spiders, I guess that would be okay.
That was my second question.
And that would be
I
an
just-
interesting game. We could play guess how many spiders are in this bag. I'll think of a prize.
I'm
The
more
rest of the
concerned
fireball?
about how you got the spiders into the sack in the first place.
I
I
mean,
mean, did
I
they
really
make
don't.
the sack?
I really don't.
Trade secret.
you could load the spiders into the glitter cannon if you really wanted.
I kind of really want to
Okay,
now.
let's look over here at this shiny thing. Maybe you could figure out something terrible but not fatal to happen to Paul's car.
Okay, so we're gonna fast forward to it is the night of the school board meeting. It's about maybe 3 in the afternoon, so you guys have several hours to accomplish what you want to accomplish, whether that's shooting a glitter can full of spiders at Paul Grant.
I love any story that can be resolved with a glitter cannon full of spiders.
I
Yes,
still
and
have Schrodinger's car alarm doppelganger in my purse.
true.
Oh yeah.
Please use this or it's going to go off during the middle of our presentation.
Maybe Brandon
Alright.
could haunt his car, and we could fill his car with spiders and make the glitter cannon spider cannon go off in the car.
Can Brandon put this car alarm device into the car and then have it go off?
And lure him there
Brandon-
with the car alarm.
Well, Brandon was run over and killed, I believe, or maybe he was driving a car. So, Brandon, can you like possess a car or something?
He says, I can do one thing to affect the physical world, and then someone has to cry a lot.
That's really specific. Do the tears have to be shed freshly, or can like I pull out a clear vial?
I mean, as long as they just get really sad. And
can do that.
and so he looks up at the house and he's like, "You're about to like destroy this guy's financial future, right?"
Yeah. Oh, you're asking. Oh, right. Nobody else can hear you. I forgot. Yes.
Yeah, that should work.
Okay. Yeah. Brandon says he can like do one thing, so he could put the thing in the car or haunt the car or anything like that. I mean, I could put the thing in the car. I can get in this car, no problem. I'll just go up the tailpipe.
I have an idea. Do we
Hmm.
have an open bottle of alcohol?
There is alcohol in this. Yes.
Well, if we can make sure that Brandon plants this in the car, we could call him in as a suspected drunk driver on his way into the meeting,
Okay. And then
driving
like,
erratically everywhere, and then his further reputation will be ruined, and he'll be detained from the meeting while he's busy with the most terrible experience ever.
wow. I mean, that's really dark. I just want to like scare the guy or
Thank
something.
you! That's really
like-
sweet of you to say.
You like want to put him in prison. Whoa.
It's okay. He'd end up in a diversion program.
Okay. And maybe like while the cops are arresting him, the spider bomb could go off.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we're going to frame Paul Grant for DUI. And so Brandon is going to haunt the car to make it sort of weave in and out of its lane and maybe run a red light. Then I assume one of you is going to be a good citizen and be all like, I'm really concerned about this erratic driver. So the police will check it out.
I'm
Yeah,
really
they will-
scared. He almost hit a poodle.
I'll call it in because I was going on my jog before my next track meet, and he almost hit me.
Terrible.
Okay, so he gets pulled over, and the cop is like administering the roadside sobriety test. In the middle of this, which Brandon is helping, like ghostly tripping and such, suddenly the cops and Paul Grant are both covered in glitter and spiders.
As they should do.
I mean, it sounds like a foolproof plan.
And there's a car alarm going off, and nobody understands. Like Paul is like on his little key fob, like, I don't know what's happening.
Yes.
So is this your plan?
Yeah, I could sneak the booze in to his car before he gets into it. If we need
That
to
would
do
be
that.
helpful to make it properly understood, because even having an open container of alcohol in a vehicle is bad.
Okay, can I mean, if we know where he lives, I could squeeze into his car, like, I don't know, through the tailpipe or like the wheel rims or something.
Yes. Okay. So you plant the booze in his car. Are there any further alterations to the plan?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, with Squirm, I can like squeeze through a little gap.
Yes.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I'll spill a little booze so there's like this smell of booze and spider venom in there.
Okay. Yeah, with Brandon's help, with Princess able to plant the booze, pretty much Paul Grant has the worst night ever.
Oh.
Especially with like the cop does not really know how to respond to the spider glitter cannon. But really feels like I need to regain my dignity somehow, and he does it by blaming Paul for it. And so he's now also, even though he could probably beat the DUI, now he's charged with assaulting an officer.
Wow, rough.
With spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know,
illegal
like,
off-brand car alarm.
if the wrong type of glitter gets in your eye, that's really bad.
We use the eco glitter, don't worry.
And
We're environmentally friendly teenage terrorists.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to hurt the spiders. We didn't want the glitter getting in their eyes because they have
Yeah.
a
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to respect the spiders.
Yes.
Yes.
Ethical
Okay.
teenage terrorists.
So Paul does not make the school board meeting. And the final vote, so Willow votes to keep the programs. She's the first person to vote. Mr. Morris votes yes directly after her. Karen Jessup looks unhappy, but also kind of sure of herself when she votes yes. And then Jason Chang, once he sees, like, oh, everybody's voting yes, I should vote yes too. And so even though Paul Grant is not there, the Gifted and Talented program is saved.
Ooh.
When do we find out about this? Are we there
Going
for
to the school board meeting?
Yeah, are we allowed to?
Yeah, anybody can attend a school board meeting. And like everybody, like all your classmates are there, and Ryan gets to put on his dramatic presentation, which, you know, probably wins a couple students some scholarships.
Well, I just let off a tiny little, a mini little like confetti popper, like those New Year's ones. Only it's just like I made it myself.
Woo!
Ah,
And so I'm gonna call it there, guys. Thank you so much for playing.
Thank you.
I would like to wrap this up by doing a round robin for people to talk about themselves. If you have a channel or something coming out, something newly published that you want to promote, go for it. So let's start with Salubri.
hi. Hi, I'm Salubri. I am a RPG writer as well as a online personality and a Twitch streamer. I have a semi-active YouTube and Twitch stream. I'm actually on retreat right now for a gaming organization called Damage Inc., which is where I am, and we're up in the mountains, so that was cool. But we do a lot of really cool stuff with competitive gaming and try to get as many people involved in esports as possible. So if you're interested in Damage Inc. or in what I do, go ahead and reach out to me and we can see about doing that.
Where can people reach out to you?
Twitter, Twitch, my YouTube, they are all the same thing.
Okay, and your handle there is Salubri_DI?
Yes, DI for
Awesome.
Damages.
Okay, Moon, would you like to talk about yourself, promote any work?
Yeah, I'm Khaldun Khalil. I go by Moon. You can find me on Patron as at True Moon. I write for Vampire the Masquerade, the 5th edition. The Vampire Player's Guide is, basically, wrapped up and hopefully will be out for V5. And that's the main thing I'm doing right now. And you can, catch up with me on my Patron or find me on Discord and such. Yeah, and thanks so much for running. This was a real blast. It's been a really long time since I played Changeling the Dreaming, and it was really it was great. Thanks so
Thank
much for
you
inviting
for
me.
playing. Thank you for playing. Okay, how about Panda?
Hi guys. I already mentioned the Instagram and the Twitter. That's at Vepels, VEPOLS. I don't have any big projects that are coming down the pipe to promote, but this was an awesome time. I really like an opportunity to dress up in costume and play make believe, and I've been jonesing really badly for a game of Changeling for ages because it's been the LARP and the RPG that I've looked at, sadly, but never been in a group that could possibly play it.
Oh.
So that's all I have to say this particular go around.
Thanks so much. Charlie, is there anything you would like to promote?
Not really. Don't have a super big online presence. I'm on Instagram as Giant in Miniature. No projects coming down the pipeline, but thank you so much for running. Like, it was great to
Thank
be
you.
able to have a part in that and to be able to play with some really cool people.
And last but not least, a friend Ben.
So I do a bunch of little weird random projects all the time, and I'm constantly just like working on new things. So you can find my main Twitch channel, Ben Competence, where I do live streaming of games. I'm going to start doing a morning show each Saturday called Killers and Coffee, where I play horror games and drink drink coffee and stuff, and that one's going to start this Saturday, so you're welcome to view that. But also in the realm of role playing, I do make my own content, and I'm putting a link in the chat right now. I made the Dread Domain Cleric for D&D for 5th edition, which allows you to become a cleric who worships the concept of fear, and that's on sale now if you want to check that out and see what I've been doing in the role-playing realm. And I've had a blast playing Changeling. I really enjoy the character creation system here. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. As for myself, I am a game writer, game editor in Los Angeles. I do things with words and games. I just released a title this morning through Storyteller's Vault. It is the year of the road, and so a whole bunch of Vault creators are making supplements and books and whatever about travel for the classic world of darkness. And so it's a little off brand. I should have written something about trods. I instead wrote a K-Knight's Guide to Travel, which is an irreverent, I hope sometimes funny, take on how you can travel when you are a member of the Sabbat. So that's on Storyteller's Vault, a K-Knight's Guide to Travel. Check it out. Check everything out. I also am part of a streaming game that runs on Wednesdays. I play a Drow Paladin, formerly of Lolth, maybe of Iliastri. Anyway, we're going to go kill Tiamat next week, so come watch it. Plastic Age Plays. And I think that is it. Thanks so
Thank
much,
you all
guys.
very much for everything. Thank you.